111 roll, 1 guaranteed 5-star. Now that's one hell of a deal, but what banner do you pick for the Lucky Bag Gacha, or as it's otherwise known, the GSSR? The 8th anniversary doesn't have every limited 5-star in the game's history. Instead, it only includes servants after a particular point in time. For my part, I find it helpful to think of them as post-Castoria banners, though she's included too. Couple of caveats. The divisions are quite sloppy, but there's a set of male banners and female banners. This mostly matters for the 4-stars, which are a single shared pool within each sex. Also noteworthy is that Draco is excluded from these banners. You'll have to trudge on over to the Destiny Order banner if you want to fish for her. If you're missing more than one high priority charge support, I'd actually recommend you do the Destiny Order first to try and snipe one of them, then pick your GSSR based on who you're missing. If you're only missing one of them or you failed step 1, then I'd make their respective GSSR banners your highest priority. So that would be Castoria, Koyanskaya of Light, Oberon, and Summer Scotty. Now let's run through some important servants. If you lack any form of Merlin, Lady Avalon's banner is your next priority. After that, if you don't have either or between Morgan and Himiko, do Morgan's banner. If you like both Himiko and Castoria, do that banner instead, because Castoria takes precedence. Those are the inflexible considerations. If you already have your bases covered in terms of essential supports, then you can do the fun thing and pick a banner that lets you fish for an advantage. For your consideration, the top 5 Lucky Bag Banners, for people that already have the essentials. Number 5. Female 9. Here you have a quartet of Medusaber, Durga, Johanna, and Tiamat. Medusa and Durga are both strong growers, servants that scale well with additional NP copies. Medusa is a strong contender for best single-target saber in the game, and Durga is a power-crept Jean archer. Tiamat is a fan favorite, but not on my radar as a mover and a shaker. One issue that I have with her, though certainly not the only one, is that she's an AoE meat grinder in the Alter Ego class, which creates all kinds of headaches when it comes to actually deploying her. This pushes you to go for a very high NP level, so if you're window shopping for an attacker that has immediate uses, you may find her performance disappointing. Johanna is technically an attacker, but her supportive abilities are more useful. She gives nice effects to your party like attack, recurring charge, arts, and debuff immunity. She also has a targeted package of art star absorption, arts crit damage, and some star income to enable that game plan. She's usually not my first choice when it comes to off-meta supplementary supports, but she has her benefits and they're available at NP1. At number 4 we have Female 8. Britomart, Huyanzhuo, Sennorikyu, and Kukulkan. This banner's value is distorted by Kukulkan, who's a borderline game-breaking attacker. Even at NP1, she's a major threat with her survivability and synergy with star and crit damage sources like Koyanskaya of Light. But as you accumulate additional copies, you not only get a wave clear tool, but you open up the road to level 120, and Kukulkan becomes an absolute terror with those extra overgrailed stats. The other 3 servants aren't quite up to that level, but they're formidable in their own way. Huyanzhuo is one of the better AoE assassins in the game, and her utility package gives her room to operate in boss fights that put a premium on Invuln Pierce and Purge resistance. She can maintain both effects for an eye-watering 3 turns. Sennorikyu is a solid quick berserker with a kit that lends itself to quick multi-core teams, between a party quick/NP gain combo and a targetable battery/overcharge package. Britomart is a lancer who does bonus damage against both riders and enemies with the riding trait, so against mixed archer/rider nodes, she can do some serious damage. The problem is that her anti-rider class effect is exclusive to her Noble Phantasm, and unlike the anti-riding buff, doesn't extend onto her face guards, so you won't really get value out of that at NP1. At number 3 we have a tie between the 2 Domon/Kagekyo banners. Because they're unknown gender in the game, they show up on both sides of the aisle, and they're formidable servants. I'll keep it short since I don't want to repeat too much of my Destiny Order spiel. Ashia Domon is a chaotic/evil alignment support who has an absurdly high insta-kill chance on his Noble Phantasm. This is exploitable for specific, but not too uncommon farming situations. It also helps that he has an 80% battery. With the starting charge append, that's a free NP regardless of your craft essence. As for Tyrant no Kagekyo, she's a soloist who abuses the very low cooldown on her guts to stay alive while mauling enemies 1v1. As her guts is popped, she gains vengeance stacks which intensify the power of her Noble Phantasm, which itself has the benefit of a preemptive buff purge. While NP levels are hypothetically nice, both of these servants can do their roles decently out of the box, especially Domon. Where the banners differ is in their other members. The male banner has Muramasa, while the female banner has Saber Ibuki and Van Gogh. In terms of overall value, the female banner has an advantage because Van Gogh in particular is a high-value servant. If you run her solo or with another copy of herself, she can stun lock enemies and crit them to death. It's pretty nasty. Saber Ibuki is less impressive overall, but features a defense ignore/invuln pierce combo that lets her devastate enemies through their protection effects, and unlike her summer form, she can do this against foes that have non-removable versions of those buffs. The male banner is stuck with Muramasa, who, once upon a time, was the best looping saber, but a dependence on single-turn buffs and the lack of any upgrades have put him in quite a bad spot over the years. Now that I've said that, he's definitely getting buffed, but Murphy's Law aside, I wouldn't count on this happening. Despite the male banner having worse value overall, it does have one advantage worth considering. There are fewer servants on it, so if you're hellbent on getting Doman or Kagekyo, you're more likely to get one of them. But if you're looking to minimize your risk, the female version won't screw you over as hard in a worst case scenario, so take your pick. Number 2. Female banner number 3, which consists of Melusine, Miss Crane, Morgan, and Karen. All 4 of these servants can grow in a useful manner with additional NP copies, though if you already have another meat grinder, then additional Morgan copies won't be necessary. It does make the Immortal team kill faster though, which will save you real lifetime. Quick recap of our contestants. Melusine is a Lancer that can go from a single target arts to AoE buster configuration. On the turn of her transformation, her third skill is a 100% battery, which enables the latter. Her downside is that she lacks an anti-buff either way, but you can write off her neutral damage in most situations. Miss Crane is a supplementary buffer that you can exploit to spike the damage of her main attacker, so you can run a Swap Mystic code to gain even more room for buffers, assuming your party cost can handle this burden. Her main buff scales with NP levels, so extra copies are never a bad thing. Morgan is your state-mandated wife. She's the state. And Karen is a quick ruler with this weird charge draining mechanic that lets her parasitize your other party members for more reliable looping. She's probably the least useful of the 4 at this stage of the game, but she has her uses if you can get enough copies, thanks in part to an upgraded Noble Phantasm with anti-chaotic damage. Now, number 1. Female banner number 7. Summer Ibuki, Summer Scotty, Arquade, and Lady Avalon. This features 2 extremely powerful growers with a pair of showers. The growers in question are Summer Ibuki and Arquade. Summer Ibuki is the best generic AoE attacker that we're going to have access to for a long time. Not only does she grind meat like a champ, but her party buffs make her an extremely useful multi-core attacker. In particular, her ability to send out her Buster Arts CDR package lets you shift damage onto your single target attacker if you need to, and she even has an NP gain buff for other summer servants, ones like Zertoria, who's another extremely overpowered servant. Arquade is a 100% battery and, as a Buster servant, doesn't care about enemy counts. You do want NP levels because not only does she rely on her neutral damage, but, much like Ashe, she has an anti-buff that scales off her NP level, anti-chaotic damage. Once you get her going, you can launch yourself into space and stop thinking while she does all the work. 10 out of 10 would recommend. She's my meat grinder of choice outside of 90++, and sometimes in that difficulty bracket as well. While Lady Avalon gets most of her value at NP1, additional levels increase her max health buff and NP regeneration effect, so they contribute to your survivability and make the Immortal team more robust when attacks get through your screen of anti-enforcement stacks. Really, the only servant you don't want to get above NP1 is Summer Scotty. That's because she has an attacking Noble Phantasm. Now on paper it's not a total loss. Her neutral damage is comparable to Karen's, and she has an anti-lawful buff in contrast to Karen's anti-chaotic attack. And she lets you frontline the triple Scotty system, which is pretty funny and lets you plug Oberon if you won't touch any drops that weren't personally farmed by a Skog variant. But these are on paper benefits. The reality is that Karen does more damage because she has a passive that gives her free damage for running Black Grail, because her passive checks for debuffs and that 500 self-damage counts. That, and it's hard to escape the truth that those other servants get so many more benefits from additional copies. But at the end of the day, you have a 100% chance to get a great servant if you don't have any of them, a 75% chance to get one that benefits from extra NP levels, and a 50% chance to get a servant that has serious 120 potential. That's one hell of a deal. So which banner are you gonna roll the dice for? Or is the paid quartz a deal breaker for you? I already rolled mine on stream and the results of that will be up on the VOD channels soon. If you want to catch rules live though, twitch.tv/Finotaisen. I stream there every weekend, 3 PM Pacific time. This week I've got Pokemon Team Rocket Edition on Friday, Uma Musume on Saturday, and I'm rolling for my 5th and final copy of Ash the Savior on Sunday. So stop on by to watch the carnage live. See you there.